Hey yo, Native Sonz episode 37? 37. We back in the building. I am D.E.O.
I'm Shaji.
Drake's one.
And today we gonna educate y'all. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all got y'all pens and pads ready. Start taking notes, because we gonna take y'all down a financial literacy course. Nah, not really a course, but we just gonna put y'all on, man. We got a friend of mine, a business partner of mine, and I'm gonna explain why he a legend too in a minute, a little bit later. But yeah, we got Arthur Burton in the building, aka Artie Mo.
Oh, wow.
What's up, Art?
Oh, man, what's going on, everyone?
So this is y'all first time meeting him. Art, that's Dregs one.
Yes, yes.
Art, this DJ Sean G. You can just call him Sean G.
Sean G.
And this is the Native Sonz Podcast, and you are episode 37.
Okay.
Welcome, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. You know, I don't know about that legend part, man, but I guess he's going to explain a little bit later. So
I'm going to let you explain it.
Oh, man, I can't explain why I'm a legend. Besides helping my people, I mean,
for sure.
That's something I definitely do. So if you're talking about that, then yeah, I'm a legend. I make Black history every day. It's not a cliche.
Off top. So explain, who are you? And what do you know about finance? Like, how did you get into financial? Who are you and how did you get into finance?
So I got into finance and insurance when I was 24. And at that time, I was working in the medical field. And I was a pathology assistant. But I met this woman who said, I could teach you how to do a service one time you could get paid for the rest of your life. And I was like, at 24, I was like, well, shit, teach me how to do that. Because I knew I could do something good one time. But then the fact that I could get paid for the rest of my life doing it, I was like, that's a skill set that I needed to have under my belt. So I got into insurance and finance. And then I didn't really jump into the finance part right away. I literally became an insurance broker. So I was a broker in San Francisco. And most of my clients were just tech companies and private schools. So for most of my 20s and half of my 30s, I was a broker. And then I realized that while I was helping all these tech companies with their insurance needs, their liability needs, and things like that, I was neglecting helping my people. So I know I didn't say this part when I first got into insurance, but when I first got into insurance, one of my main goals was to be able to go to communities in the inner city and educate people on the importance of having health insurance. And I used to always use this analogy when I explained to people the difference between me having it and you not having it. If you needed to have an appendectomy, get your appendix taken out, you don't have insurance, it's going to cost you $30,000. But since I had insurance, it cost me $300, and I was out the hospital in a couple of hours. But the fact that I had it, it prevented me from getting into instant debt. So in hindsight, having insurance, it always, it allowed me to not go into debt. And I know how to use it properly. So for me, I wanted to be able to go to my community and educate people on the importance of having it. All the different public sponsored programs are out there way before healthcare reform even took place. So when I got the knowledge, I literally went to every health fair that I could go to in San Francisco and talk to my people about insurance. Fast forward to now, it came to a point where I was like, I'm tired of helping all these uber wealthy people. And someone had asked me, like, when's the last time you helped one of your family and friends with their insurance needs? And I was like, damn, I don't even do it. Because the brokerage where I worked, you had to have a certain type of house, certain type of car, certain type of business for us to even look at you. And for me, I was like, yeah, I can't keep doing this no more. So I transitioned to another company, which allowed me to help people at whatever level they are. So for me, it was something that I was really big on, which was helping my people and really start educating them on the importance of building some type of wealth, understanding how wealth and how money works, beyond just a paycheck. You get a paycheck, and most people don't understand that you got to have a plan for that paycheck, or otherwise that paycheck gonna come and go. So for me, it was very, very important for me to be able to be in position to help people in that light. So, yeah.
You damn near answered a lot of the questions that was on here. But that's dope, though, and it was very insightful. So I guess, like, where did you grow up, and what was your household like, and how did that affect where you are now?
So I grew up in Fillmore. So obviously it's a Native Sonz podcast. So everybody should know where Fillmore is at.
Yeah.
If you don't know where Fillmore is at, you can
You're not
Google.
a Native Sonz.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For the people who are not from the Bay or from the city at all, just Google Fillmore, California. Then all random type of things will pop up. But I grew up in Fillmore, the heart of Fillmore. I grew up on McAllister, between Fillmore and Webster, 1165 McAllister. And I grew up around it all. I grew up around the drug dealing, the killings, the robbings, just everything you could think of. I seen it on my 100-meter block. And
what year was this? Like what?
Man, let's see, 1986. Before that, we lived on Fulton Street, which is literally right around the corner. So from 1986 to 1999 or 2001, I lived over there on McAllister Street, and it was fun growing up in the hood. I mean, I think if you could grow up in the hood, I don't want to say you could make it anywhere, but you could be a chameleon anywhere, because growing up in the hood, some days you had to be tougher than other days. Some days you had to be something that you were not when you walked out the door. And in life, that serves you well if you know how to be in a room and be something that you were not that day. Like, I could literally be in any room. You won't know if I'm a corporate dude, if I grew up in the hood. You wouldn't know none of that stuff. So growing up in the hood definitely allowed me opportunities that I probably couldn't take advantage of if I didn't grow up in the hood. But then also I grew up around, obviously, the music industry. One of my older brother, he's a San Francisco legend. And so I grew up around the music.
We're going to get to that in a minute.
So I grew up around the music industry from an inside looking out perspective. So for me, I seen what it took for someone to be an artist, and I seen what it took for them to be actually successful. So for me, I seen what a 19, 20, 21-year-old did in order to start generating revenue. I'm like, and I see how the industry is today. It's like, damn, well, he put in a lot of work. But a lot of times people don't understand what that lot of work really looked like. It's like, if you building something, you got to neglect so many other things in order for you to get to that point in life where you could just go, but I see him today. He still work like he ain't never made $1 million. And I could honestly say I admire that about my brother. Yeah, so my childhood life was a mix of chocolates, man. You didn't know what you was gonna get. Then obviously having a brother in that light, I dealt with a lot of unnecessary things as a child, but I wouldn't change it for the world. So
we're going to get to your brother in a minute. But
wait, for real? He's going to leave that mystery?
Let's table that. Because I want to keep the history going. Where did you go to school?
Narrative. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since you are a Native Sonz, and one of the criteria of being a Native Son is your elementary school, middle school, and high school.
Yeah, we can't verify nothing till we know that. Yeah.
So my first elementary school that I can remember was Spring Valley, which was in Chinatown. Then Raphael Will, which is in Fillmore. Then Ben Franklin, which is in Fillmore. Then Galileo. Then my mom took me out of public school and she put me in a newly established school in Bayview's Hunter Point, Muhammad University of Islam. So my mom took me out of public school and put me in that private school because she felt like it would allow me to gain more in life versus being a public school that wasn't teaching me about my history, teaching me about my people. So for me at 15, coming from a public school environment to that environment, it's like a light switch, because all your life, all the school teach you is how you were a slave, how you wasn't nothing, how your people wasn't nothing. And then to go from that environment, and even though I was in class with people 8 years old, 9 years old, and like, man, I know my multiplications, I know all that stuff already, but since my class was mixed, there was a lot of curriculum I had to go over. But once you start learning about your people, what you come from, if something in you don't turn on, something wrong with you. So for me at 15, getting exposed to that, because my mom was in the nation, so getting exposed to that even before I went to the school. But once I got into school and I had to learn how to walk in ranks, I was like, man, I'm 15 years old. Why am I walking in a line down the street to the gym? But now that I'm older, all it was me learning how to be disciplined, learning how to be in a situation that I didn't want to be in, but could still handle it without being embarrassed. So it served me well in my personal life. So those are my schools, man.
Yeah.
You know, I was the first graduate of MUI as well back in 1999. So
was the school like just like one big room, kind of like everyone was kind of in one room?
So it was at the mosque, but then it had like partitions to kind of like separate the sisters from the brothers and things like that. It was crazy, man. It was like you'd be late, do 100 push-ups, like it was like real militant. Mm-hmm. And looking at some brothers who went to school with me and the ones who went through the whole program and look how they are right now, it's like you could see that all they really lacking is discipline.
Discipline's big.
You know, and for me, I mean, I love discipline because discipline is order, is structure. You know what you're getting. So
discipline is so big.
You got something everything. I
was like just wondering if that school's still around.
I said, yeah, it is. It's on Kiska now. So yeah. But it's still there. Every now and again when I get a chance to go up there, I go up there and, you know, talk to the students and stuff like that because that's what I'm really big on. Like, I became an entrepreneur because I wanted to create freedom. And when I say freedom, I'm not talking about like I'm free to do whatever I want, but freedom to be able to do the things I want to do. You know, if I had a typical 9-to-5, I could never go to a school and just pour into these youth without having to take a day off. Right. So for me, becoming an entrepreneur, it allowed me to create this freedom that allowed me to be able to pour into people who really need a pouring into. So, yeah.
All right. So in that same cluster of questions, the last question in that group is, and this is going to answer the brother question, I think. Who are your influences growing up?
My influences growing up. So I'm going to name some people that people don't even know, but I'm going to say a brother at the mosque named Leon Muhammad. And for me, it had a lot to do with he was a structure that I didn't have in my life growing up in a single family home with my mom and my two siblings. And it was a male role model that I could look at and be like, I could identify with the same struggles that he went through, same struggles I went through, but then see where he's at in life. And for me, it was the, like I said, the light switch. It was that epiphany, is that aha moment where I was like, I could become whatever I want to become because I seen a man taking care of he didn't even have no children at the time, but his wife, and him being a dean to all these children and showing them love, compassion, but then also showing them anger and discipline when
he was the dean of the school.
He was the dean of the school. Okay. Yeah. And then I mean, I definitely would say my brother, just because, you know, once my brother got in the nation and once he really started getting into music and things like that, one of the things that was really important for the nation to tell us was to do for self. So in my mind, growing up, I always felt like I needed to do for self because it goes back to that freedom thing. If I have to depend on somebody else to do it, then I'm literally subject to however you feel that day. Mm-hmm. So for me, growing up and watching my brother become an independent artist, watching him be an artist to a producer to a record producer to a video producer to doing all these things without any formal education, you know, it literally was, once again, I was able to see I could do whatever I aspire to do. So, yeah, so shout out to JT, the bigger figure. That's my older brother. Even if we was in a room, you wouldn't know it, but if we both open up our mouths and start talking, you would know, like, these some smart motherfuckers. They must be related. Right. So, but yeah. So that's what I grew up around. I grew up being around JT, the bigger figure, for, you know, his first studio was in my bedroom, man. So that was an interesting experience, man, to have a bunch of dudes smelling like weed and booty coming in your room trying to record music, man. Because, you know, yeah, men and their hygiene is an issue, man. It was an issue in the 90s. It's still an issue in the 2000s, man.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people, studios started in their bedroom. I know mine did.
Yeah. I barely got any sleep, man. It was crazy, man. But, you know, but to be around that environment and see someone at the age of 21 be like, Mom, I'm going to stop selling drugs. I'm going to stop robbing people. I'm going to be a rapper. My mom said, okay, well, if it's going to keep you out of trouble, go ahead and do it. And then watch him actually achieve it, you know. So that's why I said inside looking out.
Yeah. So once you started getting into, I guess this is prior to you really getting into the finances, what were some of your financial goals at 18 if you had any at all?
Okay, so I was already a parent at 18. I became a father at 17. So at 18, I already had the thought process of taking care of a life. So my life was kind of like sped up a little bit because I was a parent at 17. So at 18, I kind of already knew that I wanted to own a business. I wanted to have, like, it goes back to freedom. Like, freedom for me, like I said, it's not about doing whatever you want to do. It's about doing the things you want to do when you want to do them. And at 18, I was literally focused on just bettering myself and getting the tools needed for me to raise a child. Because by the time I was 19, I was a single father to that child. So I did not have the luxury of catting off. So for me, I was on my grind. You know, my first job, I worked at Jamba Juice. And man, that was a great experience. But my financial goals at 18 was definitely to own a business, get into business, whatever that meant, even when I was doing little odd jobs with my brother, even when I was learning distribution about how I could take some of his CDs and get this record store list and just call these companies and be like, hey, I got some of these new JT the Bigger Figure CDs. You want a box? Well, how much the box? It's 10 CDs in there, $10 a CD, $100, you know, just real simple stuff like that. But for me, I learned at an early age how to just make money, and making money not from a job, but just from my resources.
So that's all at 18.
At 18, yeah. Well, man,
What was the economics in the city 20 years ago?
Ooh, man. What was the economics in the city at 20? So when
I know that's like a broad
No. See, when you like 18, 19, 20 years old, you look at economics a lot differently than you look at it when you're 30, 35, 40 years old. So,
right.
So at 18, looking at economics, I looked at, man, if I made $1,200 this month, I was doing good. You know, looking at it today, it's like, you know, but that $1,200 wouldn't matter today. But back then, the economics in the city was, things were a lot more affordable,
of course,
in the city during that time, just because there was still opportunities. And what I mean by opportunities, you could literally create jobs out of nothing back then, versus today, you only could create particular jobs or specific jobs. But back then, you literally could do a lot of different things to make money, whether it was sweeping up a store, whether it was sweeping up a barbershop, whether it was just, you know, little odd things. But the economics back then, the cost of living was reasonable. Goods and services were reasonably priced. You know, things were definitely affordable. Fast forward to now, you know, it's not really affordable now.
No,
but the economics was good for everybody back then. And, you know, at 20 years old, 21 years old, you don't look at like I said, you don't look at economics the same until you start getting some education. Like, if I was 21 today with the mindset that I have now, I would have bought a house in San Francisco, versus having this thought process like, well, I want space. So I'm going to move somewhere I can have space. So your first house is somewhere in Fairfield where there's space. And it's like, if I knew anything about real estate investments at 21, 22, 23, I would have had a house. I would have had a couple of houses in San Francisco. You know?
For real.
But,
yeah, I made a real estate mistake when I was younger. I could have inherited a house. And I passed on it.
Damn.
Yeah, because it was my grandfather's house on Wallace over where TikTok used to be. And he passed. And it was, my grandfather only had 2 kids. It was my dad and his brother. My uncle was living in the house, but my dad was like, nah, he got to get out of there and da-da-da-da. Like, if you want to live here, you know, like, you can stay here, and if you want to put some money into it, I'll sign it over to you. And he was like, you can put your family. I only had 1 kid at the time, and I wasn't really in a good shape with my daughter's mom. So I was like, I don't want to move in here with her.
right.
Because I was already like 1 foot in, 1 foot out with that relationship. So I passed on it, and then they just ended up selling the house, bro.
Damn, that's the story that's told so many times in San Francisco.
Yeah,
definitely.
Man.
Auntie passed away, and the relatives, last ones left, is just like, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Just flip it.
Yeah. And it wasn't even a flip. It was literally a dump.
dump.
Yeah, they dumped it.
Buy cheap houses
Yeah.
now or whatever.
Yeah, they
All them
dumped
signs they was posting back in the day.
it.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
man. That's
Yeah, the
like
economics has changed, bro. It's
Yeah.
changed hella differently.
What you seen like over the years? I mean, I know 20 years ago you wasn't really into economics all like that, but how do you seen shit changing? How have you seen shit change since we've left high school and
It wasn't
became
even
adults
a
and shit
thought,
like
bro. It wasn't. Economics was not a thought to my
Yeah.
generation at all,
that?
dog.
Same here.
If you had a job, it's like you made it. If you had a job at Kragen Auto Parts,
Man, I think
you
everybody's
made
trying to
it.
get jobs there, man.
Feel me? And then, but it was more attractive for a lot of people to just sell trees or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the freedom.
That was how my first introduction to the economy was
Hustling.
weed hustle in middle
Yeah.
school, high school. So I can't even comment, man. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even a thought. It's only now, really, in my adult years that I'm starting to really think about it seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like why I got into finances, because it's like so many young people don't get taught nothing about economics in school. I'm not talking about home economics. I'm talking about financial economics. That's going to really make a difference for their lives going forward. And, they just start with something as simple as just debt. If you want to go to college and you can't afford to go to college, what they're going to offer you? They're going to offer you debt. So you exchanging debt for education. And a lot of times when people get these loans and things like that, they don't understand how they work. So you literally taking advantage of someone who ain't never been taught economics their whole life. Now, in order for them to pursue a higher education, you say, hey, man, take on this debt and, you can go pursue your higher education. And when you get out of college, you can go get you a good job and then pay off the student loan. And it's like, they don't understand interest. They don't understand compound interest, which means that loan that you took when you first got to school compared to when you get out of school, compared to when you actually start making some real payments on it, that loan had already doubled. And then you tell yourself, like, well, I can manage $500 a month. It's nothing. But while you spending that $500 a month, that interest keeps on compounding. So you, in essence, never get out of debt. That's why there's so much student loan debt, because how could you can't pay off something that's geared to keep you under their thumb. And it all starts with understanding how finances work. And that's why I got into finance, because so many people just don't understand the simple thing of debt. So me personally, with my financial household, I try to stay out of debt as much as possible, because if I'm always paying, I'm just going to use you as an example, dregs back, and I got to always pay dregs, how can I pay myself? And then, so dregs is my car loan, and then a DJ over here is my credit card, and then D.E.O is my wife's credit card. It's like I'm paying all y'all people back because I had to borrow money to buy something that I really didn't need. So I'm not saying don't get the student loan, but you got to have a plan for that loan as well. My oldest child got a student loan. I'm like, why you get a student loan? Why didn't you just come to me? Because she wanted to go to college. She wanted to figure it out on her own. And it's like, dude, why didn't you just come to me? And that has everything to do with children wanting to experience things and do things and go their own direction. But it's like, you got to lean on people who's done it before you, who could give you the guidance.
Right.
And so for me, that's why I'm like so big on trying to help my people with that guidance, when it comes to finances. I'm trying to teach people how to build wealth, preserve their wealth, and then transfer that wealth one day, versus they build wealth, they lose the wealth, they build it again, lose it again, then they pass away, they don't transfer nothing. So I'm really big on making sure people have proper life insurance. I make sure people have, a plan to get out of debt. I make sure people have, if you got children, how to properly save for their college education, so you ain't trying to figure it out when they turn 18. And like, man, it's cost $20,000 a year to go to school, Dad. I'm like, well, you're going to have to go to a city college or a junior college or whatever the case may be. But
which ain't nothing wrong with. But
there's nothing wrong with it.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Because it's like, it's the dream.
Right.
Now you just crush their dream if they be like, I can't go to USC now. I got to
Right.
go to. Now they probably don't finish school now, because as parents, we not putting our children in the best financial situation. And it has a lot, because we didn't get the education.
Exactly.
So it's all these generations of people who didn't get the education, and then they having children, and then they don't know how to get them the education, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And then since we live in the information age, people go search out the wrong things because they see someone famous doing X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, an investment is all about someone's risk. But I may be, you know, risk tolerant to, D.E.O may not be risk tolerant to. Same thing with Dregs and same thing with DJ. It's
Sean.
yes, DJ Sean. But everybody got different risk tolerances. So and that all it goes back to just educating people. That's why I'm so big on educating people.
So we're gonna keep it on education. So we all own businesses to a certain degree.
Right.
He's a DJ service.
I own a business
event, Yeah, no event. You know what I'm saying?
Event producer.
Event producer.
Mm.
He owns a label, production company.
Production
You know what I'm
company,
saying?
yeah.
And the same with me. So I want y'all to kind of like, if y'all had any question marks in the sky, which y'all just was confused about, or which y'all just wanted to get some clarity on, or anything, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like just throw them questions out, because that could be the conversation that could probably won't last right here. It's probably a longer conversation, but it'll spark with any answers that y'all need.
I kind of want to just have some boss talk. I just
Let's
wanna-
do it.
Let's go for it.
How are you making paper these days?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want me to give you a real life example, earlier today I sat down with a client who's transitioning from an employee to retirement, and she needed to roll her money out of her pension into her own account. So today I helped her set up an account. She rolled over, you know, some 6 figures, and I made 5% of that.
So you're doing accounting?
Nah. So basically, when you transitioning from an employee to retirement, you know, she's built up all this money in her pension from her years of services and things like that. They give you options. Like one of the options could be you could get an installment the rest of your life. Another option could be you could get a lump sum payment. And so for her situation, it's all about finding out her objectives. And one of the ways I found out the objectives is always start with a budget, because you have your pre-retirement income, but now you need retirement income. So for her, it's all about putting together a strategy. So sometimes people want to take the installments because it's simple for them to deal with. They feel like if I leave it at the job, I'm not going to never run out the money. And then I ask clients like, but what do you do for an emergency? Because if you leave the money at your job and they pay you installments and you have an emergency, you cannot now go back to your job and be like, hey, I need $15,000 of that money to, you know, pay for this emergency. So I always try to tell clients, you know, or not tell clients, but I always try to find out what clients' objectives are for their money, you know. So I always make sure that they got to have something that's liquid. When I say liquid, it just easily could turn into money. It's not going to be no holdups. If they needed it for an emergency, it's there. So one of the ways you do that is making sure that you take the money into your own possession. So when I do, like today, I did a rollover. And I established a brokerage account for her, and she put the money in there. Then we put a portion of the money set aside for her emergency needs, and we put another portion aside set for income needs, and then we put another portion set aside for long-term income needs. And so that's what I did today, man.
So,
And that's how I made money today.
So then what would you be your official title?
So my
in that space.
So for the sake of being in compliance, right? So my official title is just financial coach, right?
Mm.
So, but I am a registered representative, and all that means is that I had to take some tests, and I had to be regulated by FINRA, which is a self-regulation organization. So I'm licensed to talk about this stuff. So my title will be financial coach.
That's dope.
Stay in compliance, if compliance people are listening.
So what do you like? What do you like nowadays? What type of investments are you looking into? Real estate, stock? What type of investments would you recommend to people?
I mean, it really goes back to someone's risk tolerance, man. Like, I always tell my friends who are about to buy their first property, I always ask them the question, like, is this going to be your dream house? And then if your answer is going to be, no, this not going to be my dream house, then I say, well, why don't you consider buying a rental property? Because if you buy a house, that's not your dream house, what you going to do 5 years from now? I'm going to buy another house. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, if you could own a property and have someone else pay for that mortgage, do that. It's just a wise decision like I said, because if it's not your dream house, you're gonna be buying another house. And then if you don't have no children, you start having children, you're gonna have to get a bigger house. So when it comes to real estate, once again, it's just trying to give people perspective and give them different options. Because when I bought my first house at 25, I wish someone would have said, like, hey, why don't you buy a rental property? Start getting some passive income. And then it's like, now you're playing Monopoly in real life. So I always try to make sure I give people that perspective. Not saying it's a right or wrong way, but it's like, a lot of times people don't think about that. A lot of times people want to just stunt and be like, I got a house. That's what I did at 25. I just wanted to, I'm a homeowner,
sounds
man.
good. 25-year-old homeowner.
Yeah. But
in the Bay Area.
In the
Bay Area. But in reality, I needed to be a 25-year-old landlord.
Yeah, that sounds even better.
Yeah.
Keep it real.
Yeah. 25-year-old landlord having passive income, which once again creates that freedom. Like,
so back to Dre's question though, like, okay, so a rental property will be a good investment. What other type of passive income investments could people look into?
So once again, it's staying compliance.
I forgot.
No. It's all good. It's all good. So passive income, obviously, if you're not familiar with what a bond is, and maybe I could just easily give a breakdown of what a bond is. So all a bond is a debt.
It's a debt security,
It's
right?
a debt security.
Yep.
And most bonds have what we call a value, a coupon value. And basically it says that if D.E.O buys this bond for $1,000 and it's 6% interest on the bond, D.E.O is going to get paid 6% interest, whether it's quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, right? And he gets paid that until it matures. So that could be 20 years. So you literally could get the income from that bond for the next 20 years. So that's an investment. Just because, it's relatively safe, it's guaranteed by the company in which you buy the bond from. And then there's other investments that, for someone just getting started, it's really about building a portfolio of investments. So not one singular thing. And I always try to explain the difference between having a portfolio and just owning stocks. Just look at baskets and eggs. If you had multiple baskets with multiple eggs in it, and you dropped one basket with eggs in it, but you still had 5 other baskets with eggs in it, that loss from that one basket is kind of like protected by having multiple baskets.
Kind of like hedging your bets almost.
Sort of like that. Almost. So basically it's like, not having all your eggs in one basket. So if you buy a share in one company, all your eggs are in that one basket. So the good that it does, the bad that it does, you experience it because all your eggs are in that one basket. So one of the key things to building wealth is being diversified. Basically just having all your eggs spread out.
Diversify your bonds.
Right. So, but when you diversify, you like I said, it just protects you from taking that massive loss. But then you also don't benefit as good from the gains either. You still get a gain, but the goal is so when a loss happens, you're not getting hit so hard.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the basic core principle of building your wealth, being diversified. Diversify, discipline, and then what we call dollar cost averaging. And dollar cost averaging just means no matter what the market is doing, you put this money into the market because this is what you need. This is what you set up to do. Because over time, even when the market is going down, just like the housing market, you buy stuff when stuff is cheap. So if all you're buying in the market when it's going up, then your money don't go as far. So last week when they had the drop, you should have been buying stuff.
Yeah,
I saw that.
So it's kind of like just constantly buying.
Yeah, because the objective is, and this is funny though, because the objective is to acquire shares. The objective is not, you don't need the money right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So the goal is I'm just trying to buy as many shares as possible.
The stock market recovered so quick after that big drop last week.
Well, and it's also like, I've heard the advice, and I've been advised, like, if you're going to buy a stock, you should at least plan to have it for 10 years. So it's kind of, because it's going to take time, you know what I mean?
Right. So
like, you shouldn't be like, just get in, get out. You know what I mean?
This ain't no quick flip.
Yeah.
Now, and that's kind of like the thing with crypto and all this other kind of stuff. And I don't want to go too far into investment because it's not really, I don't want to say there's no education in that, but it's like a lot of people not even in position to make a real investment for it to really matter either. You know,
What is an easy first investment?
The easy first investment is opening up a mutual fund, just because it's really inexpensive. Number one. Number two, it's professionally managed. Number three, is highly liquid. Number four, there's diversification. And number five, what is number five would be? Yeah. That's probably good enough right there. But
You about to have hella people Googling mutual funds.
I know, I'm about to
Yeah,
go home and listen.
it's funny because people talk about mutual funds and a lot of people complain that they are expensive, and it's like over the time, the expenses is not gonna matter over the time, the duration of owning that particular product. But the reason why I say mutual fund is because, like I said, all those reasons behind doing it. So most mutual funds you could open it up with $25. So you could literally start investing with just $25, and you trying to tell me you don't got $25. So, but that's the start of building wealth right there. Just putting away $25 a month. You know, 50. What did they say? A little over 51% of U.S. households have less than $1,000 in their savings account, and that's a real scary number right there, considering how many people live in the U.S. But that's a real big problem right there. You know what they say? The average credit card debt is $16,000.
Jeez.
And that's the U.S. average. I mean, here in California, in the Bay Area, it's probably double that.
Yeah.
You know, and that has everything to do with people not understanding how money works. You know, most people. Go ahead, D.E.O.
You had mentioned debt. Is there a such thing as good debt?
There's a such thing as good debt and bad debt. And I'll give you an example of bad debt first, because a lot of people do this. And we're going to go back to real estate. So a lot of times people own a home or have a home that they have a mortgage on, and their home builds equity. And the only reason I'm doing this because I'm about to get to the bad part.
Air quotes.
Yeah, so it builds equity, right? And people want to get an equity line of credit. And they fixing up their house, they get a car, they're doing all these things. But in reality, you still got a mortgage, and now you have to pay back somebody else. So that's literally an example of bad debt, because you taking the money out of the home to fix it up, but then you're not about to sell it. So you fix the house up to sell it, not fix it, buy a car, and now you got to still pay back this equity line of credit, you know, and that's an example of bad debt. Good debt would be a mortgage that you have, and it's an investment. It's a long-term investment. Another form of good debt would be something that you could borrow short-term and pay it back immediately versus I gotta pay the minimum. But they say if you spent made one credit card transaction for $3,000 and pay $50 a month, it'd take you over 5 years to pay that off if you just paid the minimums. Man. By the time you paid it off, you would have paid like I think it's like $7,000, something like that. But the fact is, we look at credit and debt totally the wrong way. You know, so many people want to get good credit to go buy a car. It's like, don't get good credit to go buy a car. Get good credit to go leverage that credit. And what I mean by leverage, go buy you a couple of rental properties so you can have that passive income coming in. But once again, buying a car with financing a car that's bad debt right there. Because by the time you're done paying off this car that costs you, I remember, I'm just going to use me as an example. I bought a car 2006. It was $15,000. My car note at that time, because my credit wasn't the greatest and I just bought a house, my car note was $500.
Jesus Christ.
I paid the car off. So $15,000, I paid them people back $32,000. That's bad debt right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because that could have been money that could have been going to my household, you know? And that's why it's so important to get out of debt, you know? If I got to keep owing people money, I can't never save the money myself.
I have a question about credit, because it's kind of like with your credit score goes up if you kind of have more credit card debt. It's kind of fucked up in a way. It's like a game they want you to play to like balance it all out, right?
It is definitely a game, and just like any games, the problem is we just don't know the rules.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many fake credit people out there who say they know the rules, and they really don't know the rules. You don't know the rules, and you don't want to research it yourself, so you're going to pay somebody else to help do it.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, you could figure out the same thing that they're doing to fix your credit. But credit is, like you said, they want you to have more. It's not that they want you to have more. They just want you to have a good mix of credit, an installment loan, credit card, stuff that it's a good mix. They don't want you to just have all credit cards, because basically you're basically saying that you are not good with money. This is why I have all these credit cards, because I'm an impulse buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I teach my clients, I always teach them decisions to buy things that gonna cost you $100. Give yourself 24 to 48 hours to think about it before you buy. Because if you took that time, you wouldn't make an impulse buy. And that's why so many people are in debt. They make a lot of impulse buys. Like, you got a credit card. Them shoes cost $200. You ain't got the $200 in your bank. That's the problem. We don't got, like I said, over 51% of U.S. households don't got $1,000 in savings. So a lot of people just swipe, and debt. And yeah, it's bad debt.
I noticed, like, I always pay my credit cards off in full,
Mm.
which I've been taught to do. But I noticed there was a couple of times when I didn't, and maybe I paid like whatever half the balance was, and my credit went up.
I knew you was
like, this shit is fucked up.
I knew you was gonna say that.
That's why I get rewarded for not paying off the whole debt. Like, it's so weird.
Because
it's not weird. It's
no, because what you're now establishing is you're establishing a good payment history. You see what I'm saying? So obviously, if it's paid off, you don't have no history. So they like the fact that you are showing that you're responsible enough to stay in debt, but keep paying it on time.
Yeah, that's what I've been always taught too. Is like, even if like your money ain't straight, always make the payment. Like, never miss. Always try to make at least a third, if not half.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The goal is to keep it under a third. So they want you to have less than 30% outstanding balance.
Okay.
I know my credit about to be hella good at the end of this year, because I got all my joints on auto pay.
Oh yeah, that's the way.
15 for every month, instant transfer.
That's the way.
You bold for that.
Nah, I'm
can't put
good.
shit on auto pay.
I'm good right now. I'm set up.
There's certain. You know what? The only things I don't put on auto pay is like when the bill is something that's gonna be different month to month. It's like PG&E.
Like PG&E.
I'm just like, yo, because I want to see that shit. I would be like, what the fuck?
So it's funny because I pay PG&E no matter what the bill is. Every 2 weeks, I just send them $75. And so my thought process behind that was, I can afford the $150 going to them, but I know if things got rough, like when the winter comes, especially in Fairfield, it gets really cold out there. So I know I'm going to have a spike. But then when the summer comes, I'm going to have a lot of credit because I'm giving them $150 and my bill is only $45, $50.
Yeah.
So I looked on my PG&E the other day because I was like, man, we've been having that heater on a lot when it was cold. And it said I had a $51 credit, man. So I'm like,
Nice.
My plan is working, so, but that's just how I look at things. And it all starts with having a budget, because most people know how much money comes in. A lot of times people don't know how much money is actually going out. So if you knew every other week you got $2,500, right? That's $5,000 a month. You know that without a shadow of a doubt, $5,000 is going to come. But if you don't look at how much is going out, there's no way for you to know if you have a surplus. There's no way for you to know where you need to cut back on so you can start saving more here. So you don't be one of the 51% that don't have $1,000 in their savings account. That number gets even crazier when I think there's like 48% of working Americans have less than $25,000 in their savings for retirement. That's real scary.
Yeah, like, retirement is big, and I think a lot of people don't think about that. One thing I'm
especially
thankful,
in our field too.
Yeah, we used to work in.
For
I actually haven't been saving money toward my retirement the past few years, but my dad, thankfully, I used to work at St. Francis Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
When I was like 25, he's like, you need to just start saving now. And I remember I went to the financial advisor, and he was like, yeah, a lot of people don't start saving until they're like 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
So I started saving 15% of my check, and I became self-employed 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped doing it. But at least I built up, a good retirement fund. So now my dad's like, man, you got to start that shit again. Like, I'd rather sit down with him and like figure that out.
Nah, but you know what? All it really starts with you just creating a budget. Like, I'm telling you, if you did a budget for 3 months straight and you just looked at your money, you will see where you have a surplus at. And a lot of times it's eating out. A lot of people spend a lot of money on eating out just because of the convenience, how
Yeah, that
it
shit
makes it for you
catch
to eat
up
out.
you so
You know,
fast.
Oh, yeah.
but another way to monitor your money going out is just print your bank statements, you know, and then just highlight your needs and then X out your wants.
Yeah, luxuries, necessity.
Yeah. Last week I taught a class to families about needs and wants. And just to see teenagers talk about what are considered needs to them,
Yeah, they be true.
you know? But then to take it a step further, look at the adults and what the adults also thought were needs to them as well. And it was a great learning experience for them to do it with their children, their teenagers, and their preteens because, you know, a want is just basically something that you really don't need. And so we printed out all these little cards, right? So one of the there's like all these cards for them to like put need piles, want piles. So like need air. They put that in the need pile. Then it's like shoes. They put that in the need pile. It's like music. Put that in the need pile. That entertainment. Need like all this stuff going to the need pile. You know, and that's kind of like one of the reasons why people really don't have no money. Spend more money on needs than their actual wants. So
Yeah.
So I think Sugar Free said, you got to mind your wants because somebody wants your mind.
hey, there it is, man.
That's
He's a
game.
prophet.
Yeah, no.
He's a walking prophet.
Man, how old is Sugar Free, man?
Yo,
He for sure in his 50s.
But he's probably doing something a lot. You know what I mean? Doing something real good with his finances, though, because
He pimping, not his fine.
hey, man. No,
That's the
but
best investment
you know,
man there is,
it is funny because we all work in the music industry, and
Which I want to shift gears to for sure.
yeah, it is.
So-
It is like artists and advancements and things like that. It's bad. It's crazy. But go ahead, shift these gears,
Nah,
man.
that's a great segue. That's a great segue because you know, like a lot of these artists in the Bay Area, they run through money. You know what I'm saying? A popping artist in the Bay Area, they probably running through $250,000 a year and not doing none of the things you mentioned. You feel me? So I'm just trying to this is the reason for bringing you on. I just want to just get this game out there. So talk about your music industry history. You personally, not the
No. It's
up under your brother,
It's
but
all
just,
good. So,
you know, your music industry.
so I'm gonna make it a real short, simple. In 2010, my mom asked me to help my brother in the music industry, and I was like, "Well, Mom, he's more hustle. I'm more like, let's build something, get it established, and then just reap the benefits." But I asked him, I was like, "Well, what can I do in the music industry?" And he was like, "Start a distribution company. Every artist needs distribution." So me and him literally had a 10 to 15 minute conversation about distribution. I started a digital distribution company in 2011. And I had a contract with this company called The Orchard, which before it was The Orchard, it was IOTA. And then
I had a deal with IOTA.
And then yeah, so
Yep.
so IOTA was, I mean, it allowed you to put music everywhere, worldwide, digitally, without having to go to somewhere else. So that was like my introduction into the music industry for myself. But then I quickly realized that every artist that came to me about getting their project distributed did not have marketing. They did not have a promotion plan. They didn't understand what that even meant. So I literally went from trying to put their music out there to really coaching them on, you need a marketing plan. Oh, I got 100,000 Twitter followers. They're going, nah, man, they're not going to buy your music. Man, they're going to buy my music. I said, man, the statistics say that the average indie artist sells 12 songs a year. I don't care about your Twitter followers. They're not going to buy it. And he put out the project and he had 2 sales. And it had everything to do with he didn't understand how to target and market to his quote unquote fans. And he didn't understand numbers, he didn't understand metrics. So for me, I got into the business of just consulting and coaching these artists up. So I did that all of 2011 and all of 2012. It wasn't until August 2012 that I started monetizing it, because I knew after a year and a half of doing what I did, people would understand they would know that I know what I was talking about. They also will see that I really had a passion for helping people. And when you have a passion for helping people and you've been displaying that you like helping people, it's not really hard to make money. It's hard to make money when you lead with trying to make money. I never led with trying to make money because at that time I was a broker. So I had money coming in. I wasn't really tripping off of that. So I got into consulting. And then before you know it, I came across this dope producer who had produced a song here locally that was doing really well, that I got into management. And then I built a production team, that I built a studio in Castro Valley that I had, we had it like clockwork. We had 1 room, 2 room. We was writing songs, producing songs. And for me, I was able to achieve success in the music industry.
Who was that producer and what song was it?
Yeah, I was like,
oh, God.
Come on, man. This is the media. We need that.
I mean, some producer named Felipe De La Guzman, also known as De La. He produced this song at that time called Slide Through. And
Raven Justice.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Nah, it's a real catchy song, right? I mean, the first 30 seconds of it is real catchy, and that's what artists don't realize. All you need is the first 30 seconds to be dope, and you got a hit song. No one remembers the second verse of that song.
I'm sure you as a DJ
what?
can attest to that. You as a DJ.
Dude, there's hella songs that like I'll listen to sometimes and be like, yo, I didn't even know any of the words of that third verse.
Yeah,
Because we only play it the first, maybe the second verse.
Yeah. And that's what Slide Through was. What is it? Riding in my new Beamer with a bad
bitch.
Stole her from a head. Yeah. Real simply catchy.
Yeah.
But he didn't understand nothing about publishing. And so I took someone under my wing and I gave him a lot of information for him to be, a thriving producer. I took him from charging people $30 an hour to record to like, nah, man, at this particular junction in your life, you need to start charging them more. Not because you have improved, but just because we going to make sure that you are in a better situation studio-wise. But then not only that, you've been producing for so long, so now people need to start knowing who you are. So at one point, it was about exposing him to things, take him to Atlanta so he could stretch his arm as a producer. Because when you're in one area for so long producing music, it's hard for you to stretch your arms. And this is why so many music in the Bay don't go beyond the Bay, because it's literally made for the Bay. And it's like, if you just went somewhere else and got in the studio with someone else, you're going to realize that you could stretch a little bit more. And the thing about the Bay, it's a big box. So I never want to say you're in a box. The box is big enough for everybody to grow and move around in it. But so many people want to stay in the corner. So they don't realize the box is really bigger. So for me, it was very, very important to put him in a situation where he could realize the box was bigger. And the first trip we went to Atlanta, we was in the studio with some producers who are now really, really popping, like Metro Boomin, London on the Track. And we was in the studio with them before there was anybody. And we playing them our music and his music, and they like, this shit is dope. But once again, the Bay kind of like, not suffocate you, but he just liked the corner. And I was like, dude, it's a whole big ass box. Go explore. So, but yeah, I did that and, produced some songs and yeah.
Dope.
Hey, we're gonna have to build after this.
I told you, man.
Yeah, nah.
Well, I was mentioning the Dregs yesterday about how you started the publishing side too, or just how you kind of like handling all the Gillo well, not just Gillo, but all your brother publishing because it was just sitting.
Yeah, it's funny. My brother's been in the music industry for over 20 years, and never at one time that he felt like to go register his music. So I said, well, if you don't want to register, can I, take over your publishing for your music? I don't care.
That's crazy.
Because for him, because for him, he was making money and doing other things.
I would have thought though, if anyone would have had that handled, it would have been JT.
Nah, because registering over hundreds of songs is time consuming. So if you didn't do it in the beginning, it's like, don't get it wrong. Some of his songs are registered, right? Because he had different situations. But one of his biggest songs, he didn't have registered. So
what song?
Can't Recognize Game.
Is that the biggest one?
I mean,
that's
probably that's the biggest one. I mean, bro. That was on KML.
I mean, it's an anthem.
At the end of the day, when I check my royalty statements that I get, I see it on there, and I see where it's played at. And yeah, I see the Warriors on there, 49ers on there.
So does that mean that you own his publishing?
Nah. I own a portion of it.
Yeah, you're like a partner.
I collect for him. So most people don't realize how publishing deals work.
Mm-hmm.
A publishing admin or a publishing company, all their really job is to go collect the royalties for you. So you could collect it yourself by having your own publishing company, but you know, a lot of artists is just, I don't know why they don't do it. You know, it's literally $150 on ASCAP to start a publishing company. Don't cost nothing at all.
Bro, I gotta talk to you after we record this. I swear to God, man.
Hey man, let's go get all this publishing money, man.
Come on.
But that goes back into finances though, because it takes someone to educate someone about publishing. And if you don't understand how publishing works, you don't understand how important it is to create songs that you fully control. And it's like artists put out these songs, right? That they do a cover to somebody else's production. And it's like, well, why didn't you just get a song produced and control the whole rights of it? So when all these people creating all these different videos and memes and all this kind of stuff, somebody getting paid. And unfortunately, if you're using someone else's production, guess what? You're not getting paid. So, yeah. That's why I started a publishing company, because I realized that no one was educating people about publishing. So either they was A, going to allow me to do the publishing and get the publishing rights, or B, they was going to get educated enough and dive into having their own publishing company and being empowered. That's really what I want to do, is educate and empower people. So,
yeah.
So,
are we going to get into current events related to this?
I feel like there's a lot going on right
Financial topic.
That's a
With
great
Megan,
thank
all
you,
that.
Dregs. You are the segue king for today.
Man, you've been tweeting about it all
I
week.
know, man. So just to get y'all an update of what we was talking about, Megan Thee Stallion and Art, you kind of, I already knew about it, but you hit me early in the morning about it. You sent me the video of her ranting. She was ranting about her relationship with her parent label, which is 1041, and how they're so-called holding up her releasing new music. And a lot of people, she was getting a lot of public support because people didn't really get the full story of what was going on. They was thinking that dude was playing there.
Carl Crawford.
Carl Crawford,
Ex-baseball
player.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people didn't even know that she was signed to Carl Crawford.
I tripped. I was like, that's the same Carl Crawford?
Same guy.
In his prime,
Rays.
in his prime, he's a hell of a player, man.
Yeah, so, he signed her when she was a nobody. And pretty much, she's complaining about her contract now. How do y'all feel about it before I talk about it? Dregs.
Pretty crazy, man. If you really think about it. I'm an attorney. I don't know if D.E.O told you that.
I didn't. I don't. Yeah.
So now I understand contract law. It's not that difficult to understand, actually. Like I used to think, a lot of people think this contract is like a magical instrument or something like that. And you have to put things certain ways. And to a certain extent you do, but really all a contract is a promise.
Right.
That is legally enforceable if somebody breaks it. So that being said, like a lot of the stuff that will go into a contract, I feel like is there to kind of confuse you or to bind you up. So if you're an artist, you should already know what time it is. Industry rule number 4080. Record companies are shady. You have a big ass contract in front of you. You might want to get that looked at. And then what people don't realize is you can get a second opinion as well. So especially if you're in a situation where the label is providing you an attorney, that's pretty much illegal.
But I'm 19, 20, 21 years old. I'm broke. I need the money. I don't know where to go look for an attorney. Is that still my fault?
Yeah.
Okay.
In this day and age where you can Google that shit. And like I said, industry rule number 4080, it's been 30 years since that was said. You know what I mean?
Who said that, man?
Q-Tip.
Q-Tip.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Keek the Sneak had a song, the whole hook was that.
For real?
Yeah.
So
do the impression.
It's funny that all the artists are the ones complaining about record labels being shady. Like a contract, like Drake said earlier, it's literally an agreement that two people enter into. So that means you see it and you enter into it. So yeah, I'm fine with this. The other person who sent this, okay, I'm fine with this as well. and then let's sign and get into this agreement. So at what point did you not realize that this might not have been the best for you?
Right.
You know going in because you were not impaired because at that point it would be voided. So you was fully aware of what you were getting into. And so many artists is always trying to say that, oh, I wasn't aware. Oh, I didn't know this meant this and I didn't know this meant that. And it's like, it literally spells it out in each section of it. So even if you didn't understand it, you literally could Google what this phrase or what these words mean. And for her to be like, or just for any artist to be like, oh, I didn't understand what this meant. It's like, you're an adult. And it don't make no sense. I remember one of the first contracts that I got from a lawyer. And I said to the lawyer, I was like, yeah, this don't look right, man. Not because I thought it didn't look right, just because I just wanted to just, play devil's advocate, see what she was going to say. And she was like, oh, well, we could change this. And, so then when she started talking more and more and more, I realized that all I had to say was, this don't look right. And then her job, because to the thing about negotiations, people got this misconception they're supposed to be difficult. No, negotiations is supposed to be really easy because we want to do this business anyway. So let me appease you, you appease me, boom, get it done. So when I said that, and she was like, oh, yeah, well, we could change this. If you don't like this or if you don't understand that, we could spell it out, make it a little bit more plain for you guys. And then once I got my producer to a point where we were sending out contracts, then it was like, people just would sign whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
Oh, money? Oh.
No.
Yeah.
What's the producer agreement?
Right.
But a lot of people be on with everything, like a lot of people be on some laugh now, cry later shit. Like they ain't tripping. They just wanted the instant gratification, the money in the hand.
Right.
And they don't realize, publishing all these things, you want to get your long money, but they don't see that, especially someone young.
How do you feel about the whole Meg situation?
So I read like a little bit. I read some statements from Carl Crawford, and I read some statements that a guy was talking about who was talking about her current lawyer, who was like a really good lawyer. I forget the guy's name, but he's the guy that helped George Clinton get money out of NWA when they were sampling all this shit.
Oh, shit.
And so this guy's been deep in the game. And, Carl Crawford maintains that, like, the deal is the deal. Like, we've given her hella money. Like, there's hella money. Like, maybe she feels like she only got 15 grand. Like, nah, it ain't true.
It's not true.
It is a 360 deal. She's saying like she doesn't get any of her show money, which is like
that's not true either.
That's find that hard to believe, And the thing too about 360 deals, the more I learn is that 360 deals can be bad, but it can also be a really good thing,
right?
It's depending on because think about it, if you are giving a 360 deal, but your label like is actually working their part to make you more money than you normally would make, then it's a good thing.
Right.
It can also obviously be a bad thing if you're in a situation where your label don't like you or you don't like your label, they're not going to work for you. But then the other situation sounded like the other person when they were talking about her lawyer just sounded like her lawyer is just super official at this point. And if anyone can turn this into a good situation for her, it's going to be this guy.
Yeah.
Supposedly, like, this dude been in the game for like over 30 years.
I just feel like it was distasteful for her to come out and shit on the person that put her on.
Exactly.
Like, I'm looking at it like that. Like, you were a nobody in college that, was doing your rappity rap thing in Houston or wherever you from. And this multi-millionaire baseball player was like, hey, I like what you're doing. Let me invest in your dream.
Let me make you a star.
Yeah, I'm going to invest in your dream. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this definitely was some extra shit. He made a shitload of money on his second deal from the Dodgers and never even played. Like, he was hurt. They cut him and ate the money.
About a Meg
He got a $100 million deal.
I'm not thinking about nothing you're doing. I don't care. I'm not thinking about you. But I rock with you. Come on, let's do it. This is the agreement that I'm gonna give you. You don't have to worry. You don't have to put up no bread, no nothing. I'm gonna doll you up. I'm gonna fix your weave. I'm gonna give you a better lace front. You feel me? I'm gonna snatch your body. You feel me? I'm gonna give you the best makeup artist. I'm gonna put you in the
like pimping. We're going back to the pimping
what
now.
Shit is. Yeah, you feel me? But I ain't gonna say what I was about to say. But it doesn't have to be a negative thing, though. Is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Boss Juan told me you could send them to the track, or you could send them to the library.
Come on, man.
Just saying.
Or you can send him to the studio.
Yeah. All right. We just segue.
But peep though. So he did all these things. Got the attention of 300 Entertainment. Feel me? got the attention of, got Kevin Lyle's huge major interest. Y'all remember Kevin Lyles was running around with her for a whole year.
Right.
You feel me? Pushing every button possible to get her popping. That wasn't because Meg was grinding in the streets and put up crazy numbers and that.
Mixtapes.
Yeah, like you wasn't in front of blondies. Like you was.
Oh wow! Or for the Old Navy.
You wasn't in front of Old Navy, man.
They
You
would
feel
buy
me?
my CD.
You was, come on now. So he did all this work, put up all this bread, and got you to this point. You feel me? Now, Rock Nation, the savior of every bad deal or whatever, come into play and trying to get in the mix and shake the boat. You ain't even put out an album yet. I heard the contract was for 4 albums. You complaining about your contract, you ain't even put out an album yet. You feel me? Like, put out 2 projects at least. Put out 1 or 2 projects, then be like, look, yo.
When she put out a project, though?
What?
Tina Snow.
Oh.
The what?
Tina Snow, right?
See, I don't even know.
A project from like 2 years, what, a year and a half ago?
Okay, but it didn't have Hot Girl Summer on there though, right?
No, that's the newer one.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think what you're saying is hella true. Like, even if she did get jerked out of some of the dough that she might have thought she was entitled to, she out of that agreement, she ended up with a $1 million brand that's her.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that she can monetize
Exactly.
however she wants.
Exactly.
And you know what I mean?
I don't think she's getting played. I think she's in a manny looking ass deal. Yeah, 60-40 is crazy. And I think out of her 40%, she has to produce her own music, I think. Paying for her own studio time. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things can be amended.
I was
Right.
gonna add that piece too,
But-
like that people would need to understand with contracts.
Right.
You can't just throw in any crazy deal and say, sorry, you signed
Right.
it. If
Right.
it's illegal, if it's what they call unconscionable.
Right.
If it's really a problem, if that contract is really janky, like really bad, really dirty, it can be.
Yeah,
Do you
I'm
go to
just
like an
saying-
arbitrator at that point? Or
Well, I'm gonna use this.
Depends.
I'm gonna use this as an example. I'm not gonna say
Go
this
all the way
artist's name.
to regular
a court,
Yeah.
Yeah,
to court.
but this artist from the Bay, he was popping. Well, he's still kind of popping, but he signed a lifetime contract.
Jesus.
Yeah, nah. That's kind of
Jesus.
crazy.
He signed a lifetime contract,
Jesus.
and the big label in the Bay was trying to get him, and they couldn't. And when that CEO of that big label was like, "Well, why?" and he's digging deep and figuring out, like, you signed the life like you.
Who does
that's
that?
That's
that's
slavery.
Yeah,
damn near.
like, you can't
it's
do that.
unconstitutional.
So what ended up happening was even though that he put a project out and made whatever money on there, and then the project made some good money, he still gave him back the advancement. The big label gave him back the advancement that they gave this artist, and was like, you can't have this artist in this lifetime contract. You can't do that.
Like it's
Yeah.
illegal.
Exactly.
Right.
Well,
So shit like that happens, but with this Meg shit, she got to start doing a little bit more work. Like, it doesn't make sense that this label doesn't want her to put out music. And you probably saw this in that article too. Like, she's not paying the money that she's supposed to pay to the label. Like, she's withholding money that's like his percentages. Like, you holding up bread.
Yeah, that's why the music's probably not coming out.
Yeah, like, nah, until
Yeah,
until I get my money, nah, you ain't putting out shit.
It sounds kind of like, especially because you got this like super high powered lawyer in her corner. It sounds like she's just kind of making a spectacle just to make a spectacle. Like, why air all this out on Front Street? Like, why
Mhm.
complain? Like, you got the guy, you know what I mean, working on it behind the scenes, I'm sure. So
Now
it does seem kind of strange. It doesn't really add up completely. Not to say that I trust Carl Crawford all the way either, but
Nah, yeah, it's not about trusting him over her. It just,
Yeah,
you rocking the boat and you making this whole spectacle for what? Like, get your shit figured out behind closed doors.
But you know what it really boiled down to with an artist like her is just that's all she is. It's just the artist. So even though we could say a 60-40 situation is not the best for her, it's like you got to make do with it. But if all
Right.
she could be is an artist and a twerker and a social media person, a lot of them people broke. So she just don't understand. Not just that her contract is what it is, but she don't understand branding. She doesn't understand business. She doesn't understand taking advantage of what they put her in position to do. And go back to the point that she's not even paying them. Just think about it. If I do a show and I'm in a whole nother state, and none of my representatives of my label there, well, who gonna get paid? They're gonna give me the money. And it's so easy for... So,
it's usually cash, right?
Yeah, so
so much of
like
it
you said, the 360...
back end.
Right, so the 360 is only a 360 when they can touch the money.
Yeah,
but if you
especially
getting all the money, it's like...
all the hosting gigs, the walkthroughs, all that
Oh,
shit,
man.
like that's all cash.
I have heard that they are trying to claim a lot of artists show money in these contracts.
Well, that's what the 360 is. So, but if the label is getting you these gigs, then they are entitled
That's
to get
how it
that
works.
percent.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they're not getting you those gigs, if your handler or your day-to-day manager or your booking agent that's not a part of the label is getting you those gigs, then the labels technically they can't enforce you.
But see, that's how it gets muddy though, because he built her up, so it wouldn't be a need for a booking agency. She wouldn't even be in a position to go get money on her own, without them putting XYZ amount of money into her, and it's an unfortunate situation, but that's just.
I mean, she's young.
Music business.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta lie in your bed when you made it.
Yeah, I mean, she did sign up to become a product. You know what I'm saying? Does she write her own lyrics?
I think she does mostly.
Yeah, that's what's
I get that impression.
If I was her, I would start my own makeup line or clothing brand.
Yeah, she's so young. What's she like? 21?
Nah, she's a little bit older than that.
But she's young.
25, 6,
Is she?
like that.
Is she?
Nah, I think she like 23, 24.
Oh,
yeah, a little bit older than that. But man, I mean, you're right though. She has a brand that's built up that she can eat off of now at this point.
Oh man, the
People
women love her, bro.
Yeah,
but
she got like 6 songs in the club I could play right now. Like,
I don't think she's
that,
holding herself accountable about her own situation though. She's not doing any.
It's just the era we live in, man. This is also the same person. We didn't talk about this on the podcast yet, but it's the same person who put herself on blast, making out with G-Eazy, and you know what I'm saying? It's
man,
someone who runs to her.
I think
people just run to their Twitters, man.
Right. I think it's safe to say that situation and possibly this situation are just like publicity. So
come on now,
what's
really going on?
There's no. What's the saying? There's no bad press.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like it's just another thing to talk. We're all talking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So fuck. You know what I mean? Like our name's in our mouth. You know.
Everybody likes the story of an underdog, and she's making herself look like an underdog right now. That these men and this company is taking advantage of poor little me, and I can't even do a show right now. And it's like, and I can't put out no music.
But she just put out music. She's put out a song on the Queen and Slim soundtrack that's going off in the club right now. Like, that's why it's a little cutty because like she just put out that BITCH song. Like that just came
that
out.
Song
like
is trash.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that song.
And that's probably why they say you can't put out no more music. Like, you putting out trash.
But
man.
that shit just came out. Like that's why it's a little confusing. That's all I'm gonna leave it at on my end.
Yeah.
But yeah, she got the lawyer, the one dude. I forget his name, but she gonna be all right, man. And she got Rock Nation management.
Yeah, so
she gonna be all right.
I'm glad you brought that.
She gonna be all right.
She gonna be
okay.
Well, Rock Nation is an agency.
Yeah, management.
You feel me?
They have a sports management.
It's an agency. It's an agency.
No, it's not just the label.
Right.
Yeah, they do sport. They Kevin Durant.
So,
you know what I mean?
She can do so many other branding deals.
Exactly.
That
have nothing to do with music. That have nothing to do with music.
Yeah, that's the agency's
No, that's
job,
what I'm
right?
saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Those opportunities.
Exactly.
She gonna be okay.
Exactly.
Like between Rock
I'm just
Nation.
saying she didn't have to go to Twitter and cause this stir. And obviously, it's probably for the social media spectacle for her to be talked about and
articles.
I think
so
she might be sitting back laughing about.
We always have to keep that in the back of it, but it's really distasteful to go and
that's what I'm saying.
It's just fucked up to go and air your own dirty laundry out for whatever reason.
I agree.
She could have handled that.
Yeah, I'm never really a fan of that kind of shit.
Nah, man, I go through so much shit that I want to run to Twitter about and or just tell somebody about.
But also, don't you feel like that?
I talk to myself.
But don't you feel like that comes with maturity? Because I feel like I definitely used to air shit out.
Yeah. And but
also social media is maturing too itself.
Yeah. And
I remember
being on Twitter in 2009 when I was saying anything.
That would get at people. I'd be like,
yo. But we was just talking about this, like having to take shit off our Twitter and delete shit all the time.
I deleted my whole.
So you going back through your history?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do that into the professional world more.
I do.
My friend right now is like looking for a new job. He just deleted all his old tweets. Use an app to do.
I do keywords and shit.
I search every once in a while.
I search for all the trigger words that people. Yeah, because I was.
People are getting caught slipping.
Yeah,
but that's the day and age that we live in. You get praised for accepting one thing, and then you get ridiculed for speaking your mind about something else.
Right.
And that's what she's literally going through right now. There's a handful of people on one spectrum praising her. Then there's other people on the other spectrum ridiculing her, like, why are you doing this and why are you doing that? And that's the day and age we live in. And I hate to say it, but this generation, man, they got it fucked up because this generation thinks like that. Like, they want to say whatever they want to say. And then when you tell them about themselves, like, oh, don't judge me, don't say this, don't do that. It's like, wait. You putting all this, you putting all this out here. And now you don't want me to say nothing back to you?
Yeah. There's definitely, confusing. I think nowadays, like, it's really important that, like, I think it's really important, like, for certain situations, like, certain things are politically correct, but I think in some ways, a lot of things are blown out of proportion and people are too sensitive. Right. I think it's very good that people are learning to be more sensitive towards certain things. But, yeah, dude, sometimes it's kind of ridiculous. You know, it's like, oh, I can say everything, but if you point out this one thing about it, it's like off the table. Like, come on now.
Yeah, no, it's, man, like I said, I got a 21-year-old, man. So I deal with that with her. Like, wait, hold on. You are offended because you did something wrong and I'm correcting you about it so you don't make the same mistake. And now
I'm trying to help you.
Offended now.
But also, I think we can all agree that, like, a lot of it comes with maturity.
Definitely.
We definitely all wild out more when we were younger. When you're a little older, you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that. You know, sometimes you take 2 steps forward, take 1 step back, but then you take 2 steps forward. That kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
All right, man. So Meg just gonna have to just mature and
I think she'll be all right.
And get all her ducks in order and diversify.
Are you rooting for her?
Bonds. I'm rooting for her.
Hey,
I'm rooting for all female rappers.
I like her music for the most part.
I'm not gonna say I like her music.
I like a lot of her music.
I don't know.
I need to hear me more. As a DJ. So me as a DJ, the songs that I can play in the club, I like them because I like the songs, and also I like how it makes women feel, and so I actually genuinely enjoy that, but also like makes my job easier. So and the songs I play, like,
I get why she's popular.
She has some good songs, like the new song on the Queen Slim soundtrack. I forget the name is, like, it's a super basic ass twerk song, but it's dope. Like, it does the job, you know what I mean? Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't have to be the best meal, but it's like a classic meal. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you go to eat and you're like, yo, this is a fire thing, but like, I'm gonna have this taco or this burger and it's gonna be good.
So basically what you're saying is it's like getting tacos on Tuesday.
It does the job, man.
It does the job.
It does the job. Like, I'm like, hey, man, I like this, you know? It's not a fucking epiphany that what she's doing, but she's doing it well.
Right.
She tapped into something I think a lot of artists, especially women artists, didn't tap into right away, and they should have tapped into more. And that's one thing I will give her credit for. And that's specifically twerk music.
Oh, okay.
That's specifically 100 BPM twerk songs. Like, I don't know why more women and men haven't been doing that shit in the past 6-7 years. And she came out like, this is what I do.
I mean, Big Frida.
I mean, that's what you're into.
I'm not.
I'm not either. So
you said that
I'm not mad at it.
But. Oh, I said Big Frida?
Yeah.
She been doing that for hella long.
Definitely.
Why you back there?
Did y'all
this guy?
Did y'all watch the Royce the 5'9" Breakfast Club interview?
Nope.
I see like a little part of it.
Same here. I saw like a clip.
All right, because me and Skino was going back and forth on Twitter about it, man. Because
the T Grizzly.
Yeah, Royce mentioned. They was just talking about Eminem's his presence in Detroit,
right,
helping Detroit artists, and
you talking about when Royce said the thing?
He mentioned something about T Grizzly, and Eminem approached Royce about T Grizzly, like, yo, like, you think I should do a verse for him? And Royce said, yeah, but he was like, it's too early. Like, it's just too early, you know, like, if you do it now and it pop off, people are going to credit you for getting him popping and everything. So let him do a couple more joints to get his shit up where when you do it, it looks natural. You know what I'm saying? And M agreed and was like, okay, for sure. And, you know, it's a lot of gray area between that. But then time went by and T Grizzly came out with a little diss, or he threw a shot at him.
Yeah, before he had a chance.
Before he even had a chance.
Like he was anticipating helping him.
Yeah, and M went back to where it's like, yo, what the fuck is this about? Like, you know what I'm saying? So he burnt that bridge. And
he didn't even know he had it.
Right, that he didn't even know he had. So I'm on the side of M and Royce, like you looking for this cosign when to me he didn't need it. T Grizzly was like a fucking freight train. Like he was
right.
He wasn't Big Sean. Like he's not like the lyrical miracle popping rapper.
Yeah, he's a completely different artist.
He's the new age. He's the new age. He's in a new age wave of Detroit rapper.
Yeah.
Him, Sada Baby, but he's the elite of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's
so
a leader.
You don't need an Eminem verse. It's gonna be dope for your brand and your career, but you don't need it. Just like he didn't need that fucking Chris Brown song.
It's great.
It just worked. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was my point. Skino was like, nah. Skino said Royce was tripping for saying no. Wait, right? I don't want to put words in your mouth. He was making him stagnant. Yeah, Skino basically saying that he felt like he was kind of interfering with that potential collab, and I look at it as you're not ready. For one, for two, you don't need it. That's two important things. You're not ready. You don't need it.
It could have been his saving grace because, like Royce was saying, that Eminem could have been on the song and Eminem would have took all the credit, and then T Grizzly could have just disappeared. And because Eminem was on the song and Eminem made the song and Eminem overshadowed him on the song, and then he never would have had the opportunity to really flourish. And that's kind of like the old head giving someone new to this some sage advice. In hindsight, like Skino was saying, that it looked like he was keeping them stagnated. When in reality, it's like, this is for your own good. Because I can get on here and it goes straight up, and then you follow up and it goes straight down.
Right.
And then now you're not T Grizzly. Now you're just some.
You trying to chase that.
Yeah, you're trying to chase that.
Yeah, you want that slow
high.
It's funny too, because maybe this is just me being a hater or whatever the fuck it is, but I feel like that would have been done. That would have helped Eminem more than would have helped T Grizzly. It would have helped Eminem's relevancy more.
But see, he don't need to be relevant.
No, he doesn't.
But that's probably why Royce was saying what he said, because M is M. Now I'm about to be featured on this song, and now I'm still M. And you're just T. And now I'm overshadowing you because I'm sold out arenas. I'm 100 million songs. You know, I'm this guy. You're just T. So yeah, I'm glad Royce said what he said. I'm glad that he prevented a situation where you have nowhere else to go but down from having a song like that.
And I'm just looking at it. My whole perspective was like he approached the situation with too much emotion. You know what I'm saying? Like you get mad because M ain't tapped you yet.
I'm sorry, man. I just started laughing because it's like, why do you care so much, bro?
Who?
T Grizzly. Why do you even want an Eminem verse that bad?
That's my point.
So he can go skibbity do, skibbity wow, skibbity skibbity. Like, why do you want that?
In my opinion, he's gonna make the song worse.
Yeah, I mean, I get it from a fan standpoint. Like, he's a huge icon or whatever, but like, it's kind of like a lot of rappers being their feelings.
Oh, it sounds like he's so young too. It's immaturity.
I kind of used my own experience with this, just running around with Rich when at his height, and everybody in the city wanted a Big Rich verse at his height, right? And they knew that he frequented our studio, and it was like, yo, I need a Rich verse. It's the one thing I need that's gonna get this shit popping. And it was like, we used to talk about every city artist, and he'll always bring people up, and I'd be like, they tight, they doing their thing. And I kind of said the same shit as Royce has said. Like, they need to keep working before you go and put your brand next to that. Like, they're just not ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, they haven't even put a project out.
Yeah.
So why? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't deserve. And this might sound crazy or whatever, however it's gonna sound, but you don't deserve an elite verse from any type of elite rapper on your first project. Because you don't even know what type of fan base you have.
Well, and I think too, like,
you know what I'm saying, though?
I think a comparative or comparable situations. Kind of like, you notice how Drake always hops on like the hot new artist remix. But like a lot of new artists, like where the hell, like where's Block Boy JP at now?
Dog,
Where is
exactly.
I Love McConan at now? Like where is, you know what I mean? Like he helped Migos with Versace, and they also were just a special talent.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? They were just doing their own thing. Like,
they had a machine though. They
Right.
was primed to go up because they had a machine.
And they were just super talented and creative. They did their
They
own
were-
thing.
They were in the right area at the right time
Yeah.
making music, and got blessed with a Drake and Zaytoven. Shout out to Zaytoven.
Say,
Yeah.
But I will say,
Body
like,
control.
like
Yeah, I wanna hear
to
it.
tear the other side though, what an artist like Eminem should be doing is like just build that relationship. You ain't got to.
you should have reached out and been like, whenever you're ready, like,
Or
you know,
just use
or like,
your
let's wait.
resources, bro. Like, send a tweet like, "Yo, this new T Grizzly is dope. Keep doing
A lot of
your thing.
people don't.
Salute."
But
That type of shit.
I
will
agree
go
with
a
that
long way,
1,000%.
you know
But what I've also learned is a lot of these people that could do something that easy just don't know that one little thing
Well,
goes that far, and it's a detachment.
let
you
it
know
be
what I'm
known.
saying?
I'm putting it out there.
No, I agree. I
Put your
agree
feelers out.
1,000%, and that's
But
why
that got to be in your nature though.
When I think,
No, I disagree.
No, but I'm talking about like, and when I say it got to be in your nature, like that's common sense for someone like you,
Yeah.
someone like me. It's not common sense for him. That's not in his nature. You
Right.
see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's easy for us to do some simple stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
for
him,
one, he's not even on social media.
Yeah, it's not even his
Yeah,
account.
you know
what I'm
that he
saying?
runs
well,
it or
that's the
nothing.
thing too, is I think a lot of artists and a lot of people, no matter what they're doing, but a lot of artists, people with a lot of money, they get it. I think it's very telling of the company they keep. You know what I mean? Like community around them. You know what I mean? A lot of, you know, it's like, Yo Gotti got a new song, Big Homie Rules. That song, me and Holla were talking about it last night. Like, that song is so dope. Because it just talks about, like, the way you're supposed to conduct yourself as a big homie.
Yeah.
And you can tell, like, a lot of people don't really have big homies around,
Yeah.
or they've had the wrong big homies. We've all been there, I think. You know what I mean? And they advise you to do things wrong. They fan the flames when they could be putting them out.
I just say that
You
for
know what I mean?
Eminem in particular because
Well-
what I understand about him is even though he doesn't get a lot of play in the hood or like honestly in a lot of circles, but what I heard is in Detroit he gets a lot of love.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think
think
he-
he's known and respected as that's big Eminem. That's
Yeah.
the dude. He put Detroit. He repped Detroit well.
Right.
So having that position, I feel like is like, yeah, you should exercise your role as you
Yeah.
know
I
the
think-
guardian.
But
of
I
the
feel like
culture.
that's what he did by tapping Royce. I think Royce just kind of
Right, right.
gave a little bit of
Royce should
warp
just been
in-
like, man, why don't you just holler at him? and
Yeah,
just see what
like,
happens.
but
you know what I mean?
But
I think that's
we
a-
just don't know how
maybe
the
he
conversation went.
did, and he just forgot to do it, man.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be.
be.
That too.
My
Right.
point is, T Grizzly led too much with emotion because it's been hella times where I feel like, man, that nigga need to come holler at me.
Well,
I
It's
just
hella-
pull up on
I feel-
him,
I
man.
feel like that. I feel like me, D.E.O, doing everything motherfucking official, feel like anybody in the Bay Area I should have access to.
Right.
But I can't just call E40. I just can't get too short on the phone. You feel me?
Right.
yeah.
I'm not, but I'm also not about to say or tweet or Instagram, fuck E40,
Man, they don't
fuck
fuck
Twitch.
with me.
Yeah,
They
it's
don't
like
fuck
it
with
just ain't,
official
Hella
business.
flagrantly.
it ain't, yeah, it ain't,
come out of
it
nowhere.
ain't that time. But you know what? With the times that I ran into, the
man.
one time that I ran into E40 and was in a room with him for a long period of time, and I kind of like opened the curtain on a lot of things that we had in the word is escaping me, but he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I need to be fucking with you. I didn't know you was a part of this. I didn't know you was a part of that. I didn't know you did that. I didn't know. I just wasn't aware. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think that kind of, I was just in Detroit 6 weeks ago, and the conversation I had with a few people was kind of like, I feel like Eminem it's kind of the opposite of what I was talking about. It's like he's so big and kind of insulated that like he's just like the fucking giant that lives on the other side of the
Right,
hill. Like
right.
he don't. I
He
think
don't
he's
I don't
so
know this shit
rich.
until you on the
Club, you
until
don't
you're
know
on
Yeah,
my
like
side
he's
of the
not
hill.
out.
Right.
He's out in
Yeah.
his mansion. You know what I
Right.
mean? In the suburbs, like where the fuck, you know what I
No,
mean?
but
And he's
you-
just
Right.
like it's a compound. He's just there.
And I
It's-
think honestly, I think Proof was his lifeline to the streets.
He
So
probably
from what I
was.
hear about Proof is that before Eminem blew up, Proof was that big homie
Yeah, exactly.
that I was talking
And
about.
that's why-
he was the one that was
yeah.
connecting the dots between the street cast and
Right.
the hip hop cast,
Right.
and putting a lot. I mean, you saw the 8 Mile
Yeah.
in Mekhi Phifer's character.
Yeah,
He was the heart and soul of Detroit hip hop.
the metaphysical, the lyrical,
Yo,
the,
yo.
But nah,
the
it's-
visual.
to DJ Sean's point though, I tell D.E.O this all the time. If it don't involve me anyway, it's not on my radar
Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hey, are you heard of this artist? Like, nope. because it ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
I
like,
say that a lot
for me,
too.
it's like I can't focus on things that are not either A, making me better, B, allowing me to help someone, C, allowing me to make some money. I got mouths to feed, so we got to at least look at it from that standpoint. Like, he got so much going on in his own world.
Oh, I'm not faulting him either.
Yeah. I mean, man, because I be embarrassed sometimes with D.E.O. be like, hey, man, you heard of this artist? Check out this. Like, who? What? Why? Nah, man. It is,
Like, man, you just did a podcast with him.
yeah. But for me, that's just kind of like how I look at things, and I'm sure you guys look at some of those things them same ways. Like, some things just really on your radar. And
Yeah.
some things is just really not on your radar.
Well, and that's the whole thing too. Is like when I think about Detroit rap, and there's like a lot of different artists from
Wait,
Detroit.
does he still live in Detroit?
He
You
lives in
live
the
in that, like,
suburbs.
suburb of Detroit.
Yeah,
right?
I was talking. So I was out there like 5-6 weeks ago, and I was talking to my homie who actually lives in Ann Arbor, and I was like, "What's up with Eminem? Like, where is he?" And he was like, "Yeah, he got like some big ass house, like and out, right outside of town, and he don't really come out. Like, people don't really see. He's not visible, as he probably shouldn't be. He's fucking super famous and got more money than God. You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, people forget like he signed 50.
And he's been through a lot
You know
of
what I mean?
shit.
He's been
too.
through a lot of shit. He's been
Yeah.
through like a lot of personal things, a lot of drug
A lot
things.
of beef.
And Detroit is still
Bro, rap
it's still
beef.
a hostile area.
Dude, Detroit
That
is
DJ dude that he
grimy,
just got
bro.
killed. I forget
Detroit
Yeah, nah.
is way better than it's been, and this is my first time going there, and it was like it's way better than it's been, but it's like there's so much blight,
Yeah.
like just like rundown, like abandoned buildings. Like I saw a house. There's like an abandoned house, and then there's a house people obviously live in, and then another abandoned house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen an abandoned house where like a tree fell on it. It looked like that tree had fallen on that house like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And it's just nothing. It's a dead of
Yeah.
winter. Like people aren't out as much.
yeah.
Detroit, like, and then big things going on in Detroit now. I guess it's been going on for a few years because now they have weed clubs and stuff.
Oh,
My
yeah.
homie out there is in the cannabis industry, but it's not just weed clubs. It's stores in general. Like people will just come and just drive a truck into a building, and then jump out and then rob the place and then bounce in another car.
Mm.
Wow.
Like it'll be hella coordinated. Like that's like it's Detroit is crazy, bro.
You know who's buying up Detroit? Hella crazy that people don't know.
Chinese.
Angela Yee. Well, you half right.
I know China. A lot of people from China. No, you know what's crazy? I
But
signed.
nah, she's like buying hell out because
They're selling houses
For a
for
dollar.
Detroit
$1,
for
yeah,
$1.
for $1.
No,
She-
there's
she
like-
bought 2 houses for $1,000.
There's buildings out there that
Wow.
I'm like, so it'll be a building, let's say the size of like a fairly big like firehouse,
Yeah,
like where
yeah.
fire trucks would be. And you're like, yo, I bet you that building there is like 20 grand. My homie owned the condo and he bought the condo next door because it was so cheap just to have it as
Just
storage.
to have it.
Just to have
Wow.
it.
That's crazy.
And when I went there, I stayed in that condo.
See, man,
he
that's
said all this stuff
That's
in there.
hard.
that's economics right there.
Yeah, it's like you
Because
could.
you literally buying it for the lowest of low.
No, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, you could go out there and like if you had like a real plan, you had like something you could do, like you could like buy a compound
This trip,
for
even
nothing.
even if you didn't have a plan, but you had the money or the resources.
Yeah, just put in there.
I tell people all the
Just to
time.
park your bread.
When you invest, I always tell people invest whatever you can afford to lose, because that way you won't be missing it. If you know
Right.
you could afford to lose $10,000, you ain't tripping off of it.
Right.
Then that's a solid investment
Yeah,
because
totally.
you could buy that $10,000 home and you're not worrying about the upkeep and all that. It's $10,000, but then if 5 years later it's now worth $100,000,
Easy.
man, I just made 10 times the money, man.
And Detroit is on the way up for sure.
Yeah,
Like there is actually industry coming back. The thing is that a lot of the automotive industry is left in terms of like building actual cars.
right.
Where there's tons of like machine shops and factories where they're building parts, aftermarket parts and shit. One last thing I want to say about Detroit that tripped me the fuck out and it kind of made me trip off like how much crime is out there is like there's a thing out there like where all these businesses have these cameras that are like surveillance cameras outside their businesses and they have to be marked. But when they're marked like with this green paint or something, it means that the cops also have access to
Oh,
that camera
shit.
like in real time.
Wow.
So it's like you'll go down a block and there'll be hella businesses
what they
and they'll
call
see all these cameras with these green marking, like where they stand out. And it's kind of a deterrent for crime, but it's also like the cops can access these cameras at
So
any
it's like,
time.
what's that
That's
in Europe?
scary.
What they got, the CCTV or something like that,
Yeah.
where it's like
Like
all
the
these
UK.
cameras. Yeah.
You're on camera
But
pretty
you
much
what?
the
I mean,
entire time.
that's why they don't have a lot of crime too, because they got people mad in them cameras,
Yeah.
looking. They even make reality shows out of everything.
That's like
man.
V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Yeah.
Detroit's a trip though. I want to go back. It's very rich in culture.
I've never been there. I would
neither.
love to go there.
It's interesting. I went there in the dead of winter. It was interesting, but I want to go out. I went to a Detroit Pistons game. That was really cool. They have a new arena. I went to all the museums. Saw the Diego Rivera mural that Ford commissioned him to do, back in the day. And I want to go back though when it's warm and there's more people out.
Yeah.
They have a really big electronic. What techno started there. They have a really big electronic music festival there in the summer.
That's tight.
So,
well, shit, man. This conversation has been real fruitful. I hope
definitely.
I hope y'all getting all this game, soaking up all this game. But I want to get to these music picks before we head out. We ready for that?
Yeah, and real quick too,
Yeah.
I got published the article in the
Oh,
San Francisco Examiner
for
today.
sure.
Congrats, very good.
Yeah, that was
article.
tight.
Thanks, man.
That was tight.
So if you get a chance to go read that, guys, go check it out. It's about the incident that happened in Bayview with the elder who was recycling cans, the Asian man being attacked by some African American folks, and the tension that it's caused, and how the DA just dropped the charges against him. So go read that. If you
Oh,
get a
against one
chance.
of them, right?
Against one of them,
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, check that out if you can. That was kind of dope. That's
Yeah.
some Native Sonz shit.
That is some native.
Definitely.
shit.
Mwah.
What is it under? Your name?
Yeah, it's under my real name, Reza Harris.
Should we talk about the event?
Not
Not yet.
yet.
Okay. We
can-
got some on the horizon.
I gotta run pretty
We working
soon.
on something. Yeah, it's
all
off.
good.
It's off. I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Man, the fucking Jack album,
Man, you
bruh.
fucking. I should have went first.
Sorry. Shit's amazing.
It is.
Back
it
to
is.
back.
It is.
It's
man.
not a weak verse on there, I thought.
No way.
By anybody, to be honest. It's the features I really enjoyed. The beats is banging.
That Killer
it's-
Priest verse though.
Man.
He stepped up on that one,
He
man.
stepped
I ain't
up.
heard that Killer Priest
It's
in a
one
long
of his
time.
best albums. It might be top 2 for me. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. I broke down in tears, bro.
Yeah.
Listening to Ask God
Ask
last track. I
God,
broke
bro.
down. I was
Oh my
playing it all
God.
day.
Yeah.
I was going through a lot anyway. It was kind of an emotional day. It wasn't just about Jack, but it was about all the music all the stuff being represented in his
Right.
music. I lost it, bro.
Yeah.
So that's how you know it's a good album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then I don't know if y'all want to add anything to that, but my homies, Professor Gable and Baghead, my young homies, just dropped a EP called My Room Needs New Light Bulbs. on Audio Managed.
That's tight.
It's dope. It's some cool like underground hip hop shit. Remind me of like some Boris Stiff shit, some
Right.
backpack type of shit. So check that out if you get a chance.
Well done.
I'm a stay on the Jack, but I'm a just super highlight Ask God. Cause that song, dog, that you gotta understand, that song was recorded 5 years ago.
Here?
If not longer. Nah, I wish.
I saw you saw that. I was like, was that recorded?
It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You got. I go on, but I'm gonna say quickly. Like, I think that there's probably a few more albums to come.
I'm
hope
pretty
so.
sure.
I'm sure.
pretty
Like, there's a lot of
No,
shit.
no.
Worked a lot.
Reading the
The
article,
way he
PK,
recorded,
and-
bruh, the way he
Yeah.
recorded, he was on some Pac shit.
Right.
He really, because, he subscribed. He for sure was like a student of Pac,
definitely.
of his work ethic. But that's what he did. He fired up and just went in the booth and recorded. Whether it be writing or he freestyle, punch record or whatever. Especially when he was on his punch record shit. He had knocked shit out hella fast. But that particular song is like, it's a smash. That's a smash hit.
Yeah.
And the reason why I tweeted like it just make me hella depressed all over again about it is because that could have been a song to take him out of here, yo.
Yeah.
Like
He was
really.
ahead of that whole Afro wave, the
Dog,
Afro wave
come
that
on,
Drake
man.
was on, you know?
I feel like that would have been a song that Drake would have, if he
would've
was
bit
alive,
that
to
one.
really, yeah,
He would've
he
bit it for
would have
sure.
jumped on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's got that Lord, what's that? God knows or what
Come
Lord
on,
knows.
man. That
Type
song,
of
and I want to. Hopefully, we can get PK on here because I need to know how the fuck that
Definitely
video
gotta get
happened.
PK.
Yeah.
Definitely gotta get
He's
PK.
rapping the song in that video.
Well, it looked like he recorded. That song came out.
And I
It
heard
did
about
come
that.
out,
So
yeah.
I heard about that, but I need to know the story. I need to
Yeah,
know.
it
I need
came
to know
out.
the background on it.
So
You know what
I'm
saying?
assuming he just had that in the cut.
Yeah, I need to know.
Yeah.
Definitely
what was
gotta
going
get
on. But
PK.
that
Yeah, we
video
gotta
was
get
hella
PK.
tight. It was like the All Over Me video on steroids, bro. And I
Yeah.
was at that video shoot, and it was just a cleaner All Over Me video. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was dope.
But yeah, Ask God is an incredible. Damn. Dog.
I like that song with Styles P.
Oh,
that song
man.
time.
They sound great together.
Woo.
Yeah. I
Right?
think they would have ended
Fire.
up doing an album together.
Yeah.
Styles P hella fucked with
And
Jack.
Paul
It was
Wall.
like-
I like the Paul Wall song too.
Yeah.
Paul Wall
He got
killed that
Cormega
shit.
I thought
back.
that song was one of the songs that I recorded, but PK ended up telling me that the Paul Wall verse that I recorded for Jack was on What Happened to the World.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I wasn't listening. I'm just now getting back listening to Jack this year, so I never even heard What Happened to the World.
Oh my god,
Shit's dope.
that shit's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you on, Sean?
I'll just keep it short and sweet. 2 things. Quickly, Young Nudi's new album. We were talking about Skino. Anyways, man, that dude.
I need to go check.
He got a lot of different producers on. You got Jake One on there.
Dope.
You got-
Shit.
Yeah, he got like the Jake One was talking about is like that dude is great at selecting beats. But yeah, he a real. I don't want to say like MC, but that dude's a rapper, bro. Like that dude could
Young
rap.
Nudie.
Yeah, that dude knows.
So
that
with
dude knows like how to make an album. Let's put it that
So with
way.
the Lil Baby comparison, though, I didn't understand.
Well, because
Does he sound like him?
yeah, they came out the same day.
Same day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's no.
There's more machine.
Okay, all right, for sure.
Yeah, there's more machine behind Baby. I think Lil Baby has more hype, and Lil
No,
Baby's
of
a fine
course.
artist.
Yeah,
You know what I
he's
mean?
on fire right now.
But I think Skino was just like someone was trying to say that Lil Baby was tied in Young Nudie, and I think Skino was basically like, you're out of your mind. And I was like, I second that. Because Young Nudie's album is hella tight. He's a more interesting artist.
What's the name of the album?
Anyways. So that shit is tight. And then kind of like not really an album, but Max B put out like a 25
Wave Pack.
Yeah, Wave Pack put out remastered like 25 kind of greatest hits kind of. There's definitely a bunch of songs on that aren't on there that I want to hear. So I'm hoping there's a second and third volume, but it's fucking tight. A lot of that shit. If you are, fuck with Max B in those early mixtapes, it was not mastered. It sounded hella grainy and weird, and all that stuff has gotten onto streaming lately. But I guess he went back and remastered a bunch of that stuff, and it sounds really good. So
That's tight.
if you don't know anything about Max B, it's definitely like a good start. And I think if you do know about Max B and you love him, then it's a bunch of shit that got remastered that you can bump. So
Yeah. All right, give it to us.
So I was ill prepared to have a song, but I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
What you slapping right now?
Nah, I'm about to tell you literally what I just downloaded to my Apple Music as I was coming here. It's an old song though. But me and D.E.O. a couple of weeks ago, we was talking about Jigga My Nigga versus Wildin' Out by the Locks. So I downloaded the song as I was driving here, and that's what I'm bumping right now. I must have played it out because I had to listen to all the verses because he said it was better than Jigga My Nigga. So I was just like, well, let me go
It is.
back and listen to it. So yeah, he was right.
Rough Riders.
It's a better song, but I identify with the Jigga song a lot better than the Wildin' Out song.
It's more a hit.
Real quick, are you because that's a lot of history that you grew up in. Are you tapped into like, or is there anyone out the city newer that you're following?
To be honest, I would say Little Kayla, and not because D.E.O's involvement, but I think when he told me he was going to get involved with her, I told him out of all the artists that he's working with, she would be the one that would go to another level that allow him to also go to another level. And just the beginning of this year, I was just telling D.E.O, I was like, working with you, I want to see you be successful, not just with her, with artists, period, but I said, I want to see you be successful, and I want to play a role in you being successful as well. And I honestly will say that from what I see her potential to be, she's probably going to be the one that's going to, be one of the rappers out of San Francisco, female or male, to get to another level that some of them are missing, and it has a lot to do with the people that she has in her corner.
Hell yeah.
Managers, handlers, or whatever you want to call them, don't get the type of credit they deserve to get. And that's a lot of the reasons because the artists don't necessarily don't follow what the handler or the manager is doing for them. But I definitely think that she has a bright future in store for her.
Shout out to Lil Kayla. I know I just said we wasn't going to talk about this, but
Oh, man.
the Native Sonz are actually bringing her live to Brick and Mortar on April 4th, along with the legendary San Quinn, DJ Sean G in the mix, DJ City Kid, as well as DJ
Boo for Two.
Boo
It's
for
gonna be
Two.
a dance party, but it's also gonna be hosted by those two artists, Lil Kayla and San Quinn, and it's gonna be
We're
gonna do
give
some
y'all more
songs as well.
detail. Yeah, we're gonna
we
give y'all
gonna-
more
this
details.
just-
We haven't
Next
announced it. This is the
episode.
first you
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
about it. It's been like we've been working on it. It's been kind of under wraps, but
Shout out to
Be on
Lil
the
Kayla.
lookout.
I'm glad that's who you tapped into. That was a good choice.
Top.
Yeah.
So, man, episode 37, man. This was a dope one. Thank you, Art.
yeah,
you
man,
guys for
thank you
having
so
me.
much.
For sure.
Hopefully, I
Appreciate
wasn't
you.
too, technical.
Nah.
That shit was right on time.
I'm
I
gonna
didn't
keep
hear
it
that.
100, man. This is why I wanted to bring you on because it's a switch up because we want to educate a lot more and
Right.
we know what we know, so we try to bring. We learned from you as well, so we try
Yeah.
to bring other people on that we can also learn from. You know
And
what
can
I'm
help, teach our audience some stuff or or spark some in their brain to get them interested in something. So
Exactly.
thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
So we're going to leave y'all with that one. Shout out MVP Productions. King said on the film. Appreciate
Said.
everything you're doing. You are a rock star. Thank you.
Definitely.
Shout out to Skino. Legend Live
Skino.
Forever.
Skino.
Legend Live Forever is, I guess, a partner now. They're producing this podcast now since Skino's on here.
I'm totally down
God,
with
but
that.
you know, that's the
Yeah.
family though.
Totally.
Yeah, man, I'm D.E.O.
I'm Sean G.
Drex 1.
and Arthur Burton. Thank you, bro. Appreciate everything.
Peace.